Hello, legions of loyal fans. We're back with John DeLeo again in his basement. He's got the most interesting basement of any person that I know. I'll give you a panoramic view sooner or later of this, but he's written a really good book, not even nominated. It's about stars that the Motion Picture Academy overlooked for an Oscar. And most of the time, or some of the time at least, they were better than the person who won the Oscar in that same movie. John?
Let me add to that a little. Here's the book, Nick. Thank you. Not even nominated. 40 overlooked co-stars of Oscar-winning performances. So somebody won an Oscar in one of these movies, but there's someone else in that movie as good, sometimes even better, who wasn't even nominated. So it's very specific. The one we're going to look at today is Broderick Crawford in Born Yesterday from 1950. Judy Holliday won as Best Actress. Broderick Crawford wasn't even nominated as Best Actor. Now, a little about Judy Holliday, brilliant comedian. I love her performance in this. She created the role on Broadway. She was in it for years. She was a sensation. Luckily, she was able to do her role in the film version. She was up against two incredible performances, and I don't think a lot of people thought she was going to win. You know, she was in a comedy. She wasn't as famous. This is the role that made her famous. She was up against Bette Davis in All About Eve and Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard. Also, I mean, the three of them, three of the greatest performances in the movies, and they all happened in the same year. With Betty and Gloria, you have two women who were already legends playing fictional legends in their movies, playing actresses. And then Judy Holliday in her comic role as a sort of, I guess, you know, a dumb chorus girl, to coin a cliche, who finds out she's much smarter than she thought she was. It's one of those Oscar races people talk about all the time, who should have won. I have no problem with Judy Holliday winning. She was an extraordinary talent. And she also died rather young in her 40s, early 40s from cancer. So I'm happy she had her moment of celebration. Now, Broderick Crawford had just won the Oscar the year before for All the King's Men, a political drama. He too had come from a big success on Broadway in the 30s as the original Lenny in the Broadway adaptation of Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. And he had had a pretty long career in the movies that wasn't really going anywhere until All the King's Men. So when he does this, he's suddenly more of a hot commodity. And I think he's actually better in this. And what I love about Broderick Crawford, well, he's playing a loudmouth junk tycoon, a millionaire, a corrupt guy who's come to Washington to buy a few politicians to get some good deals for his business. So he's kind of he's an awful guy. One of the things I love about him is that here's Judy Holliday, who's done her role, you know, a few thousand times, and he's new to the project, as is William Holden as the tutor. And they all seem equally comfortable with the material, like they've all been doing it for quite a while. And so to be able to match her and be as confident, as comfortable, I just admire that so much. The thing about his role, Harry, is that Harry's very funny. I mean, Crawford's very funny as Harry, loudmouth, blustering, embarrassing, vulgar. You know, you can't wait to laugh at him. He's extremely funny and really good at that kind of broad, obnoxious kind of comic playing. But Harry's also a scary guy, capable of violence, extremely mean and cruel at times. And I so admire that Crawford's able to go from making us laugh to scaring us without one canceling out the other. Oh, I don't buy him as that because I already bought him as the other thing. But he really manages to walk a fine line quite effectively, and it's really necessary for the piece to work. So I really applaud him, and I wish he at least had been in the Oscar race. It's certainly her movie, it's her vehicle, and he certainly wouldn't have won as Best Actor for Born Yesterday, but I think it would have been really fitting for him to have been nominated.
How old was he at the time of the role?
He was probably around 40.
Oh, not a child actor.
Oh, God, no, not a child actor. Wait, I think I've had the bookmark right there. There they are in the famous one of the Yeah, the famous Gin Rummy scene, which is so hilarious on both their parts. But yeah, he was certainly didn't look like a movie star. He looked like a gangster. He was more in the Edward G. Robinson mold
Uh-huh.
of movie actor. And he had a hit series on television in the later 50s, Highway Patrol, which was on for about 4 seasons. So I believe from 55 to 59. And so he was a steadily working actor. His mom was an actress, Helen Broderick, who's most known for being in two of the Fred Astaire Ginger Rogers musicals of the 30s, kind of a wisecracker, very, very good. So yeah, show business was in his blood.
In the beginning of television, was it looked at as a demotion from the movies, and then now it's like a Netflix movie? Is
Well, it certainly, as it was starting out, when people weren't sure how it was going to go, certainly would have been a demotion. And it was a place for people who had kind of been played out in Hollywood, particularly for women who were reaching a certain age where, through no fault of theirs, at like 40, you weren't going to get the parts you got at 30. And that was just a unfortunate fact of life at the time. And so women like Lucille Ball, Loretta Young, found even greater success
right?
because television happened at the right moment for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that stigma of TV, I guess that lasted quite a while. And people who started in TV and tried to make the transition the other way,
Right. That was
often
always the
couldn't.
goal of the TV star,
Right,
to become a movie star.
Right, and you have Clint Eastwood or Steve McQueen or James Garner doing it, but a lot of people who didn't. So there was that stigma of, I don't know if you can do it, if you can fill the screen, the big one. Whereas other guys, leading men who were more light comedians, actually people like Fred McMurray or Robert Young found, again, greater success probably on television because their sort of style suited the small screen in a way that made audiences feel comfortable to having them in their living rooms. So yeah.
So back to Crawford. Did he win any other Oscars for anything else?
He just won for that film. It was the only time he was ever nominated for All the King's Men, playing Willie Stark, which was kind of a version of Huey Long, a fictionalized account.
I just watched that.
Yeah. Oh, so you know him. So that was a completely dramatic role. So he has some of that in Born Yesterday mixed with the funny. Like
And he did win for All the King's Men?
He won that.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
He won that. And that won Best Picture, too.
Thanks very much, John. Appreciate your expertise, as always.
Thank you, Nick.